Welcome to Keep Traveling Your African Story, the only podcast that shares the real voices and journeys shaping African tourism. I'm your host, Rael Zieve, and through my inbound tour operation, Keep Traveling, I've had the privilege of connecting travelers from all around the world with the magic of Africa. This podcast is my way of opening that world up to you, a place to learn about the people, properties, and opportunities that make travel across this continent so very special. Today, I'm delighted to introduce Dane Van Heteren, who's Head of Sales and Marketing at Jacis Private Lodge in Madikwe in South Africa, who joins me to share his African story. Dane, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rael. Very excited to be here and look forward to sharing what we've got going on, some of the changes and what's come into life with the new version of Jacis.
We're very interested to hear about that, so let's get going. Tell us where you're situated in Madikwe and how people are best going to get to you.
Fantastic, and Rael, spot on. First is making sure everyone's well aware of the benefits of Madikwe itself. We refer to it as magical Madikwe. First and foremost, a big plus about Madikwe is we are malaria-free, which is a fantastic advantage. And accessibility is also a big benefit. Madikwe is located up in the northwest province of South Africa, up right against the border to Botswana, and is 75,000 hectares big, which really is a big game reserve. We are the 5th biggest in South Africa, and accessible by road or air, which is really great. Actually, twice daily, there's a scheduled flight into Madikwe, into the eastern airstrip. There's 2 airstrips in Madikwe, into the eastern airstrip, which is closest to us, twice a day with the provider Federal Air. One's at roughly, I think it's 9 a.m. and the next is then at 1 p.m. So nice and convenient, 55-minute flight right from OR Tambo International Airport to Madikwe. We then have our ranger pick the guests up from that airstrip, and it's then in about a 15-minute bumble back to camp. By road as well, roughly 4.5 hours from OR Tambo. It's a fantastic road, tar right up to the last 4 kilometers, which then is also a well-maintained dirt road up to the gate of the game reserve. Yes, there's transfer options for guests that would like to be able to have that traveled with a provider, but otherwise perfectly capable for a self-drive as well, which is really nice and accessible.
Sure, and because you're so close to that Botswana border, people could come through Gaborone as well, right?
Coincidentally, yes, absolutely. The border's right outside our 𝐸𝐿𝐴 gate, which is roughly 45 minutes from camp, and then we got the Gaborone border there. Otherwise, up at the north of the property is the other border post, the 𝐝𝐞𝐭𝐚𝐢𝐿 border post, which is then a great one to do if you're heading up north towards Nata and then up towards trying to go across to 𝐸𝐿𝐴 or Vic Falls.
You've pressed on the point that Madikwe is malaria-free. Why do you think that's a big deal? Is malaria still a big issue, do you think, in Africa, in other places? You mentioned 𝐸𝐿𝐴 as an example.
It is, Rael. We do see that. People are traveling, which is great. People are traveling with younger children these days, with older family members as well. But unfortunately, sometimes those people might be a little bit more fragile to catching malaria or a disease like that. And that, unfortunately, is a realistic risk when traveling to those areas that do have malaria. So it is a big plus for us. It is something that, again, Jacis, we're very proud of being very family-centric and welcoming children on safari. And that's something that we've done since the beginning and we continue to do. And yes, we do see it as a big plus for when families are weighing up the options for where to go to.
And Madikwe as a reserve, you mentioned the size of it. Tell me about the amount of lodges within the reserve. Is it becoming a little bit saturated, do you think? Are guests that come to Jacis going to feel like they're in this remote reserve with nothing around them?
Wow, great question. I think that is another great differentiator for Madikwe. Madikwe is capped at the amount of lodges, but actually how it was capped was the amount of beds that can be developed and offered in Madikwe, and that was capped. That was reached a couple of years ago and has always been set at that. And so fantastic that we know that we're not going to have any additional lodges. It's also something that we're very excited about with Jacis having its full rebuild at the moment, that we're coming back and we're going to be the brand new lodge in Madikwe, because there is no other new lodges allowed to be in Madikwe, which is a great plus to set us apart. Of course, you're allowed to renovate and upkeep, those sort of things. So yeah, in that sense, it is managed really well on the capacity. Number one, the amount of beds that guests are allowed to come and stay in the reserve, meaning the lodges. That's what your original question was. Number 2, the vehicles. So that is capped as per the lease for each game lodge, which is great. And number 3, we don't allow self-drives. So we know that the guests coming in and that are going to be on the roads are coming to access their lodge, and they're not going to be on game drives there on out, which is fantastic. I'd like to, if I can, go a step further, Rael, just to give a bit more background knowledge of Madikwe, is that although it is a provincial park, Northwest Parks and Tourism Board park, it is run and managed like a private park. And I mean that in the sense of the guiding within the park, the ethical guiding. We've got a fantastic level of that we're really proud of, where the game rangers are going out on drive each day and they're communicating between the properties as well, the other lodges, not just with the other game rangers from our lodge. So there's a fantastic level of coordination within the park. That means higher chances to see other game because people are sharing sightings, those sort of things. But it also means that those sightings are managed well. We've got a maximum of 3 vehicles ever in any sighting, which gives you such a fantastic quality level of a game viewing sighting. And that's why our game viewing sightings are so calm and the animals are so comfortable with the vehicles. One last point is also that although I mentioned the size of Madikwe and the different properties, there is no restrictions on the traversing, which is also a big plus. So we've got access to the full range of Madikwe, which is really great to be able to access all the different parts because it does change so much throughout. Jacis is located in the southeast region against the Marico River, and that's more the sort of woodland shrubbery area. The northeast is a bit more the Kalahari sandfelt. You get that rich, that beautiful red sand, that iconic African sand. In the northwest, we've got a bit more of a savanna grassland area. And then in the southwest, we've got a bit more of those rocky outcrops, some beautiful rock formations and cave formations as well. So great area to go look for leopard and klipspringer and those sort of species as well. Very proud of the biodiversity range as well.
What's really interesting is that I was in the Kruger National Park about 6 or 8 weeks ago now, and there was a leopard sighting. I actually felt like I was on the main road in Sandton because it was ridiculous. It was lovely to see the leopard eating something out of a tree. However, the fact that there was 40 vehicles and the road was just completely blocked was ridiculous. And I've always wondered why they would allow that kind of thing to happen in Kruger, that people are allowed to do that. So I'm glad that you don't allow the self-drives, and I'm glad that you restrict those things because it makes it feel a little bit more intimate and more exclusive to the people that are paying money to come to see those animals.
Big time, spot on, Rael. Sorry to hear it's going to that extent, and unfortunately, I say unfortunately, that's a USP for us. The animals are that comfortable, they've got that freedom, and they come first in each of those situations.
So Dane, we've briefly spoken about the animals, but we're going to come back to that. We finally got to Madikwe, we've got to Jacis. Now, what can guests expect when they arrive at Jacis? Talk about the amenities. I know that you're rebuilding. Tell us about the relaunch and the amenities and everything else that people can expect to find when they get there.
Rael, first and foremost, what to expect, I think I touched on it briefly. So yes, we've got the big 5 in Madikwe, fantastic numbers of them, which is great. Herds of zebra, giraffe, those sort of things when you go out and drive. The lions, rich dark mane Kalahari lions. Quantity of our game as well means you go out and drive, and the next time you go out and drive lions or pride of lions, very likely it's not the same pride of lions, which is really great. We're also very proud of the fact that our rhino population has done so well. So we got white and black rhino, which is great. As well as we've got the advantage where our rhinos do still have all their horns, which is really nice to see them in their natural state. To create our top 10 is then adding the wild dog and cheetah, and then hyenas, both spotted and brown hyena. Fantastic numbers in them. We're also very proud about the quality of the hyena, the brown hyena sightings, that we see them even during the day, which is quite rare. They're normally strictly nocturnal. And then the last 2 members of the top 10 there is our hippo and giraffe. At Jacis property, I think what really sets us apart as well is the beautiful game viewing that you're able to do from the lodge. We're very proud of our different accommodation types and the main lodge, which I explain it a bit now. Over and above that, we've got extra facilities and areas that guests are able to go to. So we're keeping it very close to heart that what we're recreating and rebuilding is not just another lodge. We're trying to create these additional areas where you're able to go to, number one, freely. So the full property is enclosed in a big 5-game fence. So you've got that flexibility and peace of mind for yourself and kids coming on safari with you, that you're able to access the hides and decks. We've got our wetland and our waterhole and wetland ecosystem, which is really beautiful and unique to Madikwe. One of the only prominent water sources in the area, so it's got a wealth of consistent game coming down to it. In winter when it's dry, we got 100 elephant that'll come down in a day, that'll come down, drink, swim in the waterhole. And that waterhole is now slowly expanded and spilled over into a wetland ecosystem. And what that attracts on the level of birds, for those people that are very keen on their birding, is exceptional. We've also got our very unique decks and hides. We got our 𝐸𝐸 sleep out deck, which is right in front of the waterhole, and that's where you're able to, for a night of your stay, go up and sleep a night up under the stars, which is a really beautiful experience. Got a little wood-fired hot tub and a toilet and shower there as well, so you got the amenities of a comfortable stay. We also do, if we've got a little romantic occasion or special occasion being celebrated, we set up a little private dinner for two on the deck as well, which is a really beautiful opportunity for an exceptional memory for guests when they come and stay. And then second, we've got our very unique terrapin photographic hide, and that's accessed through a tunnel underground where you crouch down and walk through, and then you come up inside the terrapin hide, and you've got that 270-degree view around you at water level, which is a truly exceptional angle. Yes, built for professional photographers, but you or I with our iPhone or Android, the quality of the images that you're able to get that close to the game and from that angle, truly exceptional. In the last deck as well as then the welcome deck in front of the main lodge, which is our 𝐸𝐞𝐿a deck, named after a giraffe in the local 𝐸𝐶wana language, and that's because she's built up on stilts in the game reserve, so not then needing a fence around it, and you're then surrounded by game reserve.
It sounds all very interesting, and I'm sure people that are looking for a full-on 100% nature getaway would be super excited to come and spend some time at Jacis. People are going to be interested about the actual amenities at the lodge. Tell us about the number of lodges that you have or bed nights that you have, and as far as the setup is concerned.
First and foremost is the layout, Rael. If I may just take it back, those of you that are familiar with Jacis, where we used to have Jacis Tree Lodge and Jacis Safari Lodge, what we've done through this rebuild is we've consolidated it into just one lodge, Jacis Private Lodge. And with that comes a change in the inventory, in the room types, as you mentioned. In its simplest form, we've got 10 safari suites. Those are our normal rooms, and those are all in a row just behind a little stream that runs in front of them, that they look out over the stream and into the game reserve in front. And then we've got our 3 villas. We've got the Nari Villa, which is a 3-bedroom, 6-person villa facing into the game reserve. And then we've got the 𝐶𝐞𝐿 Villa, which is facing back onto the Madikwe River. That's also a 3-bedroom, max 6-person villa. And then our 3rd villa is our Jacis Madikwe house, and that's our biggest of the 3, which is a 5-bedroom, max 10-person villa. The additional amenities and areas we have, each of the villas come with their own private pool and team for that exclusive use experience. But for the rest of the rooms, we've got a central pool facility. We've got a beautiful big boma that we're rebuilding that's now going to look out onto the Madikwe River. And then we've got a little spa facility as well that guests are able to go and enjoy some spa treatments.
I know that you're going through this rebuild. Tell us, first of all, where can people find you online? And second of all, when are you going to be up and running and ready for people to start coming back to Jacis?
Great question. Thank you, Rael. We're really excited to announce that we're on track for our opening date, 1st of July this year, 2026. We're really excited to announce that we have prioritized and finished one of the villas already. That is right at the end of the property, so it's away from the rest of the construction. And because it comes with its full exclusive use team that is open already, we've been welcoming guests there since Christmas, and that is running smoothly. People are loving the new fresh look, the interiors, all the rest.
Now, one point I want to touch on while we're still talking about the lodge itself is food. Tell us a little bit about the food offerings that you put out there for guests that are coming to Jacis.
Thank you for asking. I could tell you one thing, when you come into Jacis, come hungry. I hate to bring it up that we do get a complaint at Jacis sometimes, and that complaint is that people leave heavier than they arrive. It is something we are very proud of, is our food. The quality of the dishes. We've got exec chef and his team that even now while we've been closed, we've had them upskilling and improving and doing training as well. But it's something that we have always done and had a really high level focus on, is the food and the quality of the dishes. Number one, locally sourced flavors that we're able to incorporate into the meals. We do 3 meals a day, a breakfast, a light lunch and a dinner. But what's, I think, a bit different about us is where we have the guests eat our meals. We want our guests to eat a meal in a different location. That's the goal, weather permitting. So we try and shake that up each time. And the reason being is we want you to be able to immerse yourself in nature when you're having that meal. Number 2 is that we want our chefs and our team to be able to prepare and be cooking and engaging with the guests while they're doing those meals. More often than not, we'll have that meal cooked on the fire in front of the guests to a quality that you'd think you're sitting in a beautiful top-class restaurant in Cape Town.
It seems to me that this is the next featured kind of adventure that lodges like yourselves are doing, eating in different places. I commend you for that. That sounds really interesting. I want to come back to the safari a little bit. Do you only offer the driving safari? And you mentioned the river bayou as well. Do you offer any kind of walking safaris as well and boating safaris?
Rael, we don't do boating safaris, so the river is purely just from the lodge that we're able to view it. didn't used to be, but there is now a resident hippo there, so we're able to see him, as well as the game that then come down and drink from the other side of the river. We do offer at an additional option and an additional cost walking safaris as well, if guests would like. We really like to be able to facilitate photographic safaris as well, so guests that come out and do that, we're able to put the appropriate bean bags and even gimbals on the vehicle. We've got cameras that we're able to rent. We've got the new Z6 mirrorless cameras that we've got with a 100-400mm lens, and guests are able to rent that per day if they'd like and give a shot at wildlife photography as well.
That's really cool and interesting. I must say, I do enjoy the walking safari because you mentioned not just the big 5 but the 10 now. Are you aware of the little 5, Dane, and how interesting they are? And you really can only see them on the walking safari. So I'm testing your skills on the little 5 now.
Absolutely, I know the little 5. I'll test you. Do you know there's an ugly 5? So the little 5, exactly. With lovely opportunities to get up close and personal with those little creatures. Some of them pretty, some maybe not so much. But we've got the leopard tortoise, we got the elephant shrew, we got the antlion, we got the rhino beetle, and we got the buffalo weaver. There you go. And you're absolutely right, Rael. Those are the ones that you experience on a walking safari. I agree with you. Being able to stop and appreciate the small things, the smaller mammals and antelope, and even the grasses, the trees, what the vegetation is doing, and have a bit of a deeper experience.
Yeah, listen, just the dung beetle itself is quite an amazing animal. I was fortunate enough when I was in the Kruger to come across like a whole, I don't know what you call them, as a collective noun. They were busy and you can just see they've got their whole thing going on. I recommend to anyone going on safari to do a walking safari and check out the little 5. Dane, you mentioned the ugly 5. I think you've incorporated 1 or 2 into your big tent. So you were testing my skills. It's the wildebeest, the warthog, the hooded vulture, the marabou stork, the hyena. I know that as an added benefit to the listeners of the podcast, both you and Jackie have been kind enough in doing a prize giveaway. Would you tell us what you're going to be giving away to a lucky listener?
Absolutely, Rael. We're very grateful to be able to join and contribute to that. I love the following you've got, and it's the right people that we like to be able to welcome at Jackie's. So what we're doing is giving away a 2-night stay in one of our brand new safari suites. That's for up to 2 people, and that's on a fully inclusive basis. So with your twice daily game drives, all meal, and your house drinks included as well.
Dane, thank you very much. I really appreciate that giveaway, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of entries coming in for people that want to experience the beautiful Jackies, and especially once you're up and fully operational on July 1st. But Dane, thank you very much for your time and energy and coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Rael. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm excited for your listeners to know what's going on, not only to extend the awareness about Jackie's, but to be able to announce some of the changes and what's coming to life.
Thank you, Dane, for sharing your story and for everything you're doing to grow African tourism. Don't forget, every week we feature fantastic prize giveaways from some of Africa's most beautiful lodges, camps, and travel partners. You could win your own unforgettable getaway just by listening, subscribing, or visiting www.keeptraveling.africa/podcast, or read more about today's guest by reading through the show notes of today's episode. Don't forget to follow Keep Traveling on social media for the latest episodes, stories, and travel inspiration. I'm Rael Zieve, and this has been Keep Traveling, your African story. Remember, a few years from now, you won't remember how much it cost you, but you'll always remember the memories you made. Keep traveling.